Merry meet, Annie here. This video is going to cover some of the basics regarding circle casting from a traditional viewpoint. As we all share a path of varied experiences, it may be helpful or not. You may have your way of casting, you may have no need of casting. I offer this video to those who are exploring what it might be for them and those curious to know what it is like for another. I am often asked if I cast whenever I hold circle for group or privately. Indeed, I do. It pleases me. It pleases my gods and my guardians. We each recognize the pattern. It creates a vibration between us, not because the process is necessary, but because it is my way of partnering with them, and they know me in that pattern. They honor me as I honor them. You will know what this beginning icon means as you journey through circle with me. Let's begin. We begin within the context of the all, knowing that there is a vastness we can only begin to understand. We define the indefinable as best we can. We begin by casting circle by acknowledging what we know. We know the four directions. We know north, east, south, and west. In our physical existence, we can look to the directions of sunrise and sunset and the quarters between. We can instinctively center ourselves within that and look to each direction. We also know up and down, above and below from the place we stand. Within the orientation of the directions and above and below, we are able to place ourselves at the center of existence as we know it. It's like the signs at the mall that tell us where we are. Our internal compass does the same. We'll begin visiting circle from here. Circle is first seen as a circle cross, with the cross aligned to the directions. Aligned to the directions, the circle then becomes the quartered circle, the basis of the Wiccan experience of circle. The circle is cast 3 times round. The first casting is when we present our chosen symbols of the elements to the circle. For instance, in traditional rite, this is when we consecrate the water and salt and the flame and incense, then cleansing and blessing the circle with them. Moving around the circle as we do that, honoring the natural elements and centering the inner circle of our working. The first act of casting is honoring the elements as we know them on this plane. That circle has a solid boundary as we create it, the boundary of the physical, of what we know in this physical world and the elements within that. We are creatures most naturally of this plane, and therefore it is the place we start from and return to. This casting honors what is called the physical plane. The second casting is when we call upon the elemental energies. These powers are the raw, pure energies of the elements. We will have studied in traditional teachings all of the deep powers of each element, and will have come to know each element completely as part of our first and early training. In my tradition, we then cast the circle with the blade a foot or 2 according to how much room we have outside of the first casting. Again, the boundaries of this casting are firm. The wall of the first circle holds true, and the second circle is taken from that outwards and has a firm outer boundary. The second casting honors the plane of forces. It is here that the elementals exist, each aligned to their direction, and within that layer of the circle, pure and powerful in their natural energy. They can only be true to themselves. They cannot be controlled at that level. They are not sentient. They have no sense of themselves or themselves in relation to any other aspect of creation. They are simply being what they are. There are times we verbalize the call to the elementals, perhaps by calling on their respective times of day, seasons, or particular attributes we plan to use in our rite. The third casting is when we call upon the elemental guardians. This is done in traditional rite by casting pentacles to the quarters. I was taught to cast them at the edge of the first circle. Then push them back beyond the second circle and into the circle beyond. They are the aspect of the elements which are self-aware and aware of themselves in relation to the rest of creation. In my style of casting, once I have pushed the pentacles back beyond the second circle and into the third, my guardians step through their pentacle and into my sight. In the traditional Wiccan spiritual cosmos, the guardians are in service to our gods. We view them as our personal champions and develop deep and lifelong relations with them. They will partner with us, but they serve the gods. When we invite the guardians to our ritual, they step forward from the astral and become the portal between the worlds. As they know their element in all the worlds, and as it's part of the all. The third casting honors the astral plane, the home of the guardians. This is the guardian of air as invited to circle. He stands in the plane of forces when attending circle, the portal between this world and the other, between the physical and the astral plane. As an aside, while the form the guardian takes is unique to us all and can take any form, to most trad Wiccans he is male, as he is seen as in service to goddess and therefore her complement and balance. He is often conceived of in the trad circle as the four winds, and each of us in circle will have a personal relationship to the guardian in addition to that which we conceive of him personally. I have moved away from the imagery of the winds, as they no longer resonate with me, although I can relate to them when visiting circles who use it as their group imagery. And as another aside, for I don't want to lose where God and Goddess are in this microcosm, the God in this interpretation of the circle is the sum of the center and the second circles. The white and black ones in this view representing the physical plane and the elemental energies of that plane reflected in the plane of forces. Goddess is the circle without the circle, that having no outer delineation becomes the circle of mystery and eternity. Conjoined, they bring blessedness. Back to our guardian of air, who I left hanging a bit. He is the portal to the plane of the energies of air. Because we have invited him to our circle, and because he is in service to Goddess, and the right relation of the work we do to the higher good, he can be seen as adjusting what comes into circle of the element we call on. Imagine you were calling fire, and it came flaming through, devouring all it encountered, doing nothing wrong or unnatural, simply being fire. The guardian regulates that response, in keeping with our request, bringing us exactly what we need of the element. Whatever aspect we need of fire comes to circle through the stewardship of the guardian of that element. That guardian is also, beyond the channel for the fiery element of fire, that element in relation to the wider aspect of fire and all that fire can be. From the healing warmth to the raging inferno to the absolute power of will. This is illustrated in the drawing as the portal extends into the astral plane. That is where fire is balanced and aligned with the other elements and with all that exists. The guardian acts as a funnel, responding to our call, acting on behalf of the gods, and bringing us what we need and no more than we need, which is the traditional call. When we cast to the quarters as we lay the third circle, we invite the guardians to join us. It is opening a flow of balanced energy which comes into our circle as we complete the calling, creating a vortex of energy which spirals into and moves around our circle. That solidifies as the fifth element of circle, as above so below, as the universe the soul, as without so within. Our circle then stands in what we declare a place, not a place, and a time outside of time, not of this world, nor of the other. And you are here becomes the center of what we have created. Now you know the story of this icon. Stay tuned for part 2, where I address some circle housekeeping questions that have come my way, such as, how wide to cast? Where are the 3 times round placed? How to handle small spaces? Where is the altar placed? Where are elemental altars placed? Where are elemental torches or candles placed? And advice on how to kiss Wiccan style.